Hey there, this is James Wilson with MTB Strength Training Systems and BikeJames.com, and today I want to introduce you to one of my favorite training tools that you've probably never heard of, and that is the Indian club, also known as a club bell. The Indian clubs, from what I have read, actually date back to ancient Greece. They were picked up by the Persians during the Greek and Persian Wars, taken across the Persian Gulf, and eventually migrated over to India, where they get their more popular name today, the Indian clubs. The point is, these are actually a very old training tool, and a lot like the kettlebells and some of the other things that are starting to get popularized again today, we're just rediscovering what the ancients knew about physical culture and physical training, not really discovering anything new. Like they say, there's nothing new under the sun. So it always makes me laugh when somebody says they've invented a new thing or a new training tool or a new training concept, because odds are it's been done a few dozen times before. But anyways, the Indian clubs are great for building shoulder mobility, shoulder stability, wrist strength, wrist mobility, just a great overall, shoulder upper body exercise. They've been kind of compared to upper body jump rope as far as developing rhythm and coordination with the upper body. And I can attest to that. If you ever want to make an adult feel stupid, tell them to do something that they're not used to doing with their arms. And very quickly you start to see the look of frustration on their face, because they're, when you start having them take their arms through patterns that they're not used to, you can see almost the smoke come out of their ears as they're trying to figure out, how does this work? So the Indian clubs are, I've actually debated a lot as to whether to introduce these on my blog, just because this is not going to be an instructional video. I'm not going to try and teach you how to use Indian clubs. What I want to do is show you some of the cool exercises that you can do with it, and hopefully spark your interest into learning more about them and delving into some of the training materials that are out there, because I'm definitely not an Indian club expert, and but I'm pretty competent with them. So what I want to do is just show you a couple of the cool exercises that I like to use and some of the benefits that I've been able to get from it. So one of the first things that I have people start out with is actually just a real simple forward and back movement, and just bringing the Indian clubs back and forth like this. And I'll move to the side and show you. Pretty simple movement. The keys here are getting the elbows up high, but not letting them flare apart. That's not what we're looking for with this pattern here. And then once you've got this down, you can actually add in a little wrist turn, kind of work on some wrist mobility as well. Next thing I try to introduce to people, and I use the word try because at this point it starts to get more complicated. I can tell a lot about a person by their attitude towards the Indian clubs. If they have an open mindset, then they think that they can learn it, then they don't get as frustrated. If you have what's called a fixed mindset, where you think, what I have is what I have and I can't get any better, then they get very frustrated very quickly with the Indian clubs. So I actually use these to tell a little something about who I'm working with sometimes. So the first pattern is starting with the club here, bringing it around the back, popping it out to the side, bring it back in. As soon as the bicep connects with the ribs, comes back up to the start, back. That works into this pattern here. And then the other way, boom, take it behind the head, back to the start, out to the side, drop it behind the head, back to the start. So this pattern is the next one that you can work on. And then eventually you're able to integrate both arms into it, both ways. And then the one that really gets people tripped out is where you get them going by themselves. So those are some of the main patterns you can do. Some other ones you can do. Boom, boom, out to the side. So that's another real good one. And then there's actually some ones you can do with the wrist. I like to do this one here. This is a really good wrist mobility exercise. I've jacked up my wrist more than once, and I feel that this has really helped me out. You can also do it like so. And yes, I have let go of them and blasted myself in the chest. And yes, I have hit myself on the back of the head. You only do that about once or twice, and then you figure out real quickly what you did wrong. So again, that's just some of the basic patterns. I like to use these as a warm-up. I'll do some jump rope and then some Indian clubs to kind of get a good warm-up before I start a workout. On my off days, as far as active recovery, I'll grab the clubs and mess around with them. I really enjoy playing around with them. They really, just kind of put you in a zen state of mind. You have to be conscious of what you're doing without overthinking it, or you screw it up very quickly. So there's some really great resources for this. Indian Club Essentials, I believe, is the name of the product. Brett Jones and Gray Cook have put together that go over some Indian Club Essentials and things to way to learn these patterns and stuff like that. So I'll make sure that I have a link on my site at bikejames.com along with this video to that product. So if you're interested, you can check that out. But highly encourage you to check them out. Like I said, I really like them. They're definitely not for everyone, but if you have an open mindset and you're looking for a new challenge and something that is pretty fun and enjoyable once you get it, and has really great health benefits. I mean, I've had separations, AC separations on both my shoulders, and I think the Indian clubs have really helped rehab them and get them back to the point where I don't feel any ill effects of them. So anyways, hope you guys have enjoyed this little training tip here. Once again, it's been James Wilson with MTB Strength Training Systems. You can check me out on the web at bikejames.com. I'll talk to you guys next time.